Good evening and welcome to the Greg Tompsett Football Show. We are going to give you a quick recap of this week's action. If anyone didn't know, there was a Thursday night football game this week. The Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins played a football contest. It was very enjoyable. If you'd like more details on that, please check out either the film room or the Cover One Buffalo post game show. Is delightful, but the Bills won 31-10. It was a great show. The upset of the day, you heard Chris and I even talked about this game last week in that, hey, this is kind of the get right game. Everybody had an awful lot of people had the Ravens in their eliminator picks. The people who didn't get knocked out in week one by the Bengals being upset by the Patriots here. And this was even tougher because the Ravens, like, they lost, it's 26-23, but they had a 10-point lead. They were up 13-23 or yeah, 13-23 in the fourth quarter, and just multiple possessions and opportunities to put this away. And they ended this game after their touchdown. Like, nice drive, touchdown drive, go up 10 in the fourth quarter against the Raiders. That's a win. You're done. The Raiders aren't coming back from 10 points. And you get a field goal, Ravens go 3-and-out punt. Raiders get a touchdown, Ravens go 3-and-out punt. Raiders get a field goal, and then the Ravens can't even move the ball down the field to be able to do much of anything. They tried like a kind of pitchy woo woo game, in the final play, running around, and weren't able to get anything going. And the Ravens, your shocking 0-2 team of the week. In our preparation for next week, obviously spent some time watching the Jags versus the Browns, and like the Jaguars are a talented team. Obviously, watched their game with the Dolphins multiple times last week. I'll watch this one again here this week as we get ready. But the Browns controlled most of this game. Deshaun Watson actually played a reasonably efficient, solid game here. Lawrence was 14 of 30, just couldn't get much of anything going. And yeah, I think there's talent on this team, but this is two pretty ugly weeks in a row. A lot of penalties. Um, Not much. I know that they lost Tyson Campbell, and I believe their number two corner as well. So I know there's some injuries on the defense, and Josh Hines Allen, got some pressure a couple different times, but I can't tell you if I even knew if Trayvon Walker played today. Foye Lucan still is making some plays. They got Devin Lloyd making some plays at linebacker, but just leaving a fair amount to be desired here. And a team that I don't love them going 0-2. I never love playing a team that's lost two close games when we play them in the third matchup here, but not a team I'm terribly concerned with, but someone that obviously we'll have to take seriously. Another game that was kind of weird. This is 2 weeks in a row that the Tennessee Titans had a great opportunity to win a game. Calvin Ridley ran one in early and then caught a really nasty one, like just underneath Sauce Gardner. It was a really, really good catch, the way that he was able to sneak it in there. Made it 17-17 into the fourth quarter, and the Jets moved the ball down the field. They ended up getting a couple turnovers because Will Levis just can't help himself and just continues to, put himself in a position to turn over the ball, to make crazy weird plays. And I'm really curious how long he's going to be able to keep this job because again, today maybe wasn't quite as egregious as last week, but just the variance is pretty crazy with this team. So the Jets pick up the win. They play okay. I don't think they were anything special. And the biggest change is this is not the same dominant defense that we had seen for the last couple of seasons. I think they're missing some pieces here. They lost both Jermaine Johnson, a pass rusher, and CJ Mosley today. So it's going to be really interesting to watch their injury report. Those both look like could be semi-serious injuries. I believe I heard Achilles for Jermaine Johnson, and CJ Mosley had to be carted off. So we'll see where that one goes. But obviously concerning to say the least. The biggest upset on the NFC side of it was the Minnesota Vikings and San Francisco 49ers. And this is another one. This was maybe not the same as the Raiders and the Ravens. The Vikings controlled this game. They were up 20-7. They jumped out early, got a 4th down stop at the goal line against the 49ers, and then turn around and go 97 yards in 2 plays, a 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson. It was, pretty wild, and then all of a sudden, the 49ers just couldn't stop them. Fred Warner obviously made some amazing plays. It was fun to watch, but they just continued to give Minnesota opportunities to maintain possession. They could not get the quick turnovers or to get the ball back in time. And even when they did, Minnesota played tough. So this was an interesting one. Obviously, the Bills hold the Vikings second round pick, so I did not plan on them going 2-0, especially with their schedule, but playing a little bit tougher than a lot of people recognize. Um, the Carolina Panthers are one of the worst football teams I can remember. I don't think the Chargers are that good, and the Chargers dominated this game. They were in complete control the entire time. Quentin Johnston scored two. I can't believe he's still in the league. Quentin Johnston was an enormous bust as a rookie, and now all of a sudden catches 2 touchdown passes against the Carolina Panthers. Good for him. Certainly happy for him. But this was a complete, like, just milk the clock second half. J.K. Dobbins ends up running for 17 carries and 131 yards. Gus Edwards had another, I think, like 16 carries himself. They just completely milked the clock the entire second half. 18 carries for Gus Edwards. So they ran for 219. And Aaron, hi, Aaron. Thanks for watching, bud. Yeah, the Panthers are the worst team ever of all time. It's wild. Like, they are so bad. Yeah, in fantasy, just pick up whoever's playing the Panthers. That team's not going to score. I very sincerely think we could have an 0-17 situation here. They're going to need something super fluky to happen to win any football game because they just get dominated at the line of scrimmage on every single snap. It's Bryce Young does not have a chance. These running backs don't have a chance, and their defense just gets destroyed every single snap. It's really, really rough. Another one that, this Patriots team is scrappy. They took the Seattle Seahawks to overtime. The Patriots played tough this entire game. Jacoby Brissett was playing tough. Antonio Gibson had some wiggle. Reminder Stevenson was running tough and playing hard. I know late as the week went, Kenneth Walker was a scratch for the Seahawks, but Zach Charbonnet came in and played pretty tough. DK Metcalf had one long play where he really got behind Christian Gonzalez, but Gonzalez played pretty tough. The rest of the time, DK Metcalf's obviously a really tough matchup for anybody. But this was a game where I kind of expected the Patriots to have that little bit of a letdown breather after they beat the Bengals in the week 1, and they played Seattle really, really tough here. So it took them to overtime. Seattle got the win, but this Patriots team is I'm going to describe it the same way I said in the preseason. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but they're going to ruin some team seasons. There are some teams that are going to expect to win going against the Patriots, and they're going to lose, and they're going to get punched in the mouth, and they're going to lose 16-13 and ruin somebody's seeding at the end of the year because this team's going to play tough all year long. So we'll see where that one goes. Seattle goes to 2-0, not their greatest performance today, but they figured out a way to get the job done. The juggernaut of the season, the New Orleans Saints, 2-0, 47 points last week, 44 points this week. They scored freaking 91 points on the season. Take it to the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, completely smack them around, and they had 35 points at halftime. At halftime of this game, it was 35-16. It was just an unbelievable butt kicking. Alvin Kamara had 3 touchdowns at halftime, got a 4th one in the second half. Raheed Shaheed with another bomb from Derek Carr. Derek Carr, 11 of 16 for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 super efficient weeks from Derek Carr. 3 rushing touchdowns from Kamara. Rashid Shaheed looking like a great deep threat. And the Cowboys, even in garbage time, the New Orleans Saints defense played tough here. I was not a believer in this team. I still don't know if I'm a believer in this team, but I guess they scored 91 points in 2 games. I don't know how you don't take them reasonably seriously here and still harassed Prescott in this defense. Other than the 65-yarder from CeeDee Lamb, like, the Cowboys couldn't do anything. And as Aaron said here, yeah, the Cowboys are once again fraudulent. Like, man, like, this is I just did not expect. I didn't expect the Cowboys to look this bad, but I certainly did not expect the Saints to look this good. That's wild, and they're obviously the biggest shock to be 2-0, and certainly at the degree to what they are. They've outscored their opponents by 62 points in 2 games. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Um, Maybe the worst game of the day, this Giants Commanders game was, as you can see here, an amazing field goal fest back and forth. And just both teams begging the other one to try to win. They both had possessions back and forth, and some ugly turnovers that really made it difficult. I thought that Jaden Daniels looked okay in this game. He was efficient with his passing, better with his passing today, but it's the Giants defense. They're pretty bad. And again, still some recklessness with the rushing, but it was a little bit better than what it was before. Malik Neighbors, his first real game as a breakout here. He got a touchdown, had 10 for 127. They were kind of funneling the ball into him. Devin Singletary had some nice runs. But this was a game where they were just daring each other to try to win. Someone had to win this game. And I think both these teams are going to be drafting at the top here, and the Giants probably won by losing in the grand scheme of things. One of the more entertaining games of the day, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. This one was a fun one to go back and forth, and Baker Mayfield continues to play tough, certainly still in the minds of many around Cleveland as they see the Buccaneers go to 2-0 and the Lions, many people's favorites in the NFC. A lot of people's sneaky Super Bowl picks now had a little bit of struggle here with the Buccaneers. They controlled this game. They were able to continue to just maintain possession. And again, as the Lions are trying to get back into this game, you see, towards the end, they were able to, just kind of hold off just enough to be able to keep it going, get turnovers from Jared Goff, and be able to kind of figure out just enough to be able to hold on here and get the win. And another fun surprise 2-0. Of course, in the NFC South, you're going to have multiple 2-0 teams with the Saints and the Buccaneers, both 2-0, and Atlanta playing tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. A game that, again, Chris and I talked about this on Friday, and I think I picked up the Colts defense because, hey, they're playing Malik Willis. He can't throw the ball. I'm pretty sure that Gus Bradley and the Colts defense knows that he can't throw the ball, so we should be good. You should just be able to stack the box and go through there. Instead, what we saw was the Packers ran the ball 53 times for 261 yards. They got 5 yards a carry on 53 carries. It's unbelievable that the Colts just could not stop anything that they were doing. And honestly, credit to Malik Willis. He did throw the ball 14 times, 12 of 14. He obviously had a ton going in his favor with how heavy the play action was because they were running the ball so heavily. But good for him that he didn't make any bad decisions, didn't force any balls, completed 12 of his 14, got through a touchdown pass. It was Kenny Moore was real close to picking off the touchdown pass that he threw, but he threaded it through there, was able to get it and to be able to complete that pass. And good on Malik Willis. He made it happen today. Again, Anthony Richardson continued to be the highest variance player in the league here. He fumbled twice, both got recovered, so that didn't count as a turnover, but he threw 3 interceptions. Only had 37 yards rushing today, wasn't able to get anything really going in that direction as much as he was in the previous game, and just too high a variance. Chris and I actually took turns trying to figure out what the actual term for it. Maybe variance isn't enough for what he brings there. We threw around scattershot, vacillation. We'll see. We'll come up with what the right term is for what Anthony Richardson brings to the game here. But right now, it's not good. It's not good. It's not going to be able to get the job done. In the 4 o'clock games here, a shocking beatdown with the Cardinals just thrashing the Rams. Maybe the Bills are sneaky good. They were able to beat the Cardinals, and the Cardinals came out and just thrashed the Rams today, 41-10. Shout out to Marvin Harrison Jr. Got shut down by Christian Benford the week before, 1 catch for 4 yards. Comes out this week, I think he had 4 catches for 130 and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. So credit to him to be able to do that. In this game, I know I haven't heard anything further, but Cooper Kupp left at halftime. I heard that he was in a boot. after the game. So obviously something to watch there. But the Rams, there's a lot of injuries here. I know they lost like three of their starting linemen. That was looking pretty rough here. So some ugly stuff there from the Rams and the Cardinals. So we'll see where it goes. Chris with a strong submission here that we're going to call Anthony Richardson spasmatic. I think that is the proper term. That's great job by Chris. So again, the Cardinals looking tough. Really good game here. An ugly one, but Pittsburgh wins ugly. It's what they do. They win 13. They go 13-6 to go up 2-0. Of course, the only undefeated team in the NFC or the AFC North is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody had the Ravens and Bengals at 0-2 and the Steelers at 2-0. Of course they did. They let Bo Nix beat himself, and they did just enough to be able to get the win here. Justin Fields played within himself, 13-20, nothing special, but got the job done. And that defense is tough. That defense is nasty. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, adding Patrick Queen, like that's a tough defense, and they're doing the job right now. So we'll see where that one goes. And the game of the day, the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the NFL officiating crew as well as the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. The Bengals shot themselves in the foot plenty. Ugly fumble from Joe Burrow. They got returned for a touchdown on a critical 4th and 13 where they're going to get off the field and win 25-23. The Bengals defender got there a split second early, and the ref threw the flag. It's one of those plays where by the letter of the law, I guess it is defensive pass interference, but man, on 4th and 16, that is a really tough call to make. And one that, Chris said it before the show. If, that happened to the Bills, I would want the flag. If it happened against the Bills, I'd be furious and wouldn't want the flag thrown. But man, in a 4th and 16 spot, it was like as ticky-tack of a timing call as what you could have. He was absolutely playing the ball. He didn't hammer the receiver. He was going up for the ball, and his body hit the receiver's body at not even a full 10th of a second before the ball got there. It was just really, really tough spot. Of course, Harrison Butker made the kick. He's a great kicker and is very, very clutch, so he made it. But just a terrible way to be able to see that one end. That was frustrating. So great week this week. Obviously, the Bills are the only undefeated team in the AFC East. We have the Patriots at 1-1, the Jets at 1-1, the Dolphins at 1-1. The Steelers are the only 2-0 team in the AFC North. We have both the Chargers and Chiefs at 2-0 here. And as we're watching right now, the Texans are leading the Chicago Bears at halftime of Sunday Night Football. So make sure you check out all the awesome shows we have going on at Cover One here. Great film room breakdown that came out this morning. Make sure you check out all the work there. Aaron and I will be back with you on Wednesday night, bringing in a guest to break down Jacksonville for next week's Monday Night Football game. And make sure you're checking out all the great articles written over by our former Cover One writers helping out over at Sports Illustrated here. We'll check out the latest one here coming from Chris. All right, guys, thank you very much. This has been fun. You've been listening to the Greg Tompsett Football Show, and we are out.